For my 18th birthday, my parents gifted my brother a watch and wrote his name on my cake. So, I packed up and left that night. How do you rebuild a life from scratch, knowing the people who were supposed to love you most were actively trying to tear it down? My family didn't just cut me out, they tried to erase me. And when they finally thought they'd won, I made sure their perfect world came crashing down. From the outside, our house was a picture-perfect dream, a stately two-story colonial with a meticulously manicured lawn, complete with my mom's catalog-bought ceramic gnomes. But inside, that perfection was a thin veneer, barely concealing a lifetime of feeling utterly invisible, like a ghost haunting my own home. I was Noah, and from the moment I could count, I started tallying the days until my 18th birthday. Not because I yearned for adulthood, but because 18 meant one thing: nobody could force me to come back. My brother, Tyler, 2 years my junior, was the undisputed golden child. This wasn't some petty sibling rivalry. This kid could genuinely do no wrong in their eyes. Meanwhile, I once forgot to bring the trash cans in from the curb and had my internet shut off for 2 weeks as punishment. I learned to live quietly, to keep my head down, to stay out of everyone's way. My dad had this clipped, tight tone he'd use whenever I entered a room, as if I were a persistent problem. My mom wasn't much better. She didn't yell, but she had a way of looking straight through me, like I simply wasn't there. Tyler, though? He had the effortless smile, the easy charm. He was the miracle baby after my mom's 3 miscarriages. The one who made it. I think the second he was born, they decided he was special, and everything else, including me, just faded into background noise. I found the undeniable proof when I was 16, searching for my birth certificate. 3 leather-bound photo albums, meticulously organized by year, overflowing with Tyler's milestones. Maybe 5 photos of me total, all from before Tyler even existed. I ordered a replacement certificate myself. $45 and 6 weeks of waiting, just to prove I actually existed. I tried to be useful. Got decent grades, stayed out of trouble, worked part-time doing overnight prep at a commercial bakery to save for college, because I already knew they weren't helping with that. Every time the conversation turned to my future, my dad would just grunt and say, "You're smart enough. You'll figure it out." Tyler, on the other hand, received a brand new laptop for his 16th birthday for school projects. He mostly used it to stream shows and play games. I remember asking my mom once if I could borrow it to fill out scholarship applications. "Ask your brother," she'd said. He refused without looking up from his screen. I filled out scholarship applications at the public library instead, because even borrowing his laptop was a negotiation I always lost. There was one moment that truly cemented it all for me. Tyler had a college visit scheduled 2 hours away. My mom drove him, made a whole day of it, took him to lunch afterward. 2 months prior, I'd asked for a ride to a scholarship interview, 20 minutes from our house. My mom's response? "Figure it out. I'm not a taxi service." I took the bus, showed up 15 minutes late because the route didn't align with the interview time. I didn't get that scholarship. When my 18th birthday finally arrived, I wasn't expecting much. Maybe a card, perhaps dinner at the chain restaurant we always went to. I didn't expect a gift. I just wanted some kind of acknowledgement that I'd made it through 18 years. That maybe, just maybe, they saw me. My birthday landed on a Saturday. I didn't have to work, so I slept in and came downstairs around 10. What I walked into was my dad in the kitchen, tying a bow onto a sleek black box, and Tyler bouncing around like a kid on Christmas morning. I stood there, half awake, watching this moment between them. Nobody looked at me. My mom turned around with this bright smile, saying, "Perfect timing, Tyler. Open it." No happy birthday. No acknowledgement. Nothing. Tyler ripped into the box and pulled out an expensive-looking silver watch. Chronograph face, leather band. It looked like something out of a magazine ad. He gasped like he'd just won the lottery. "This is insane, Dad," he exclaimed, slipping it onto his wrist. "Now I don't have to keep borrowing yours." My dad laughed, ruffling his hair. "You've earned it, kid. You've been working so hard." Hard? The kid's biggest accomplishment that week was convincing some girl to go to prom with him. He'd literally bragged about it at dinner 3 nights before. I just stood there, waiting for someone to remember why the day actually mattered. My mom finally glanced over at me. Don't look so sour, Noah. It's not always about gifts. When you're older, you'll understand that what matters is who you become, not what you get. Character building, right? I tried to nod. I thought we were having cake? I mumbled. Oh, we did that earlier, Tyler said casually. While you were sleeping. I blinked. You had cake? Without me? It was just a small thing, my mom said quickly. Nothing big. Whose name was on it? I asked. Silence. Just a beat too long. Tyler smirked. Mine? I mean, it was supposed to be a joint thing. Don't be dramatic, my dad snapped. It's just cake, Noah. I laughed, a sharp, short sound. Even the frosting has a favorite. Tyler raised an eyebrow, like I was the crazy one. My mom gave me this look, all pity and disappointment, like I was ruining a perfectly good morning. I walked out of that kitchen without another word. That night, I sat on my bed in the dark for a long time, staring at the wall, trying to swallow the tightness in my throat that wouldn't go away. I kept thinking the same thing over and over. They're never going to love you the way you need them to. So, I made a decision. I grabbed my backpack and started packing. One hoodie, a water bottle, protein bars I'd been stashing in my desk drawer, the $180 I had saved in an envelope taped to the underside of my dresser. My ID, a phone charger, and a bus schedule I'd printed at the library weeks ago. I also took my uncle's old pocket knife. He'd given it to me before he died when I was 12. Said, keep this. You'll know when you need it. It wasn't about protection. It was about having something that was mine. Something someone gave me because they wanted to, not because they had to. Before I left, I grabbed a sticky note from the kitchen counter and wrote one line. I'm not missing. I'm unavailable. Please don't turn my room into a guest suite until Monday. I stuck it on the fridge where they'd see it in the morning. At midnight, I slipped out the back door. The hinges squeaked. Nobody woke up. I walked down the driveway, turned left at the street, and didn't look back. I figured I'd stay gone for a few days, clear my head, maybe crash at the church shelter downtown. What I didn't expect was that 2 weeks later, my phone would buzz with a call from my dad. I let it ring the first time and the second. On the third try, I picked up. Before I could say anything, his voice came through, choked up. Your room's still here. Please, just tell me where you are. I hung up without speaking. 2 days later, he left a voicemail. This time, quieter, angrier. I don't know what you think you're proving, Noah, but this isn't how family works. You don't just vanish. Funny. I thought family was supposed to notice when you're in the room. I'd felt invisible in that house my whole life. I stayed gone, bouncing around for the first week. The church shelter let me sleep there 3 nights before they said I needed to rotate out to give someone else a turn. Fair enough. Then I met Frank. He ran a small engine repair shop out of a converted garage, lawnmowers, chainsaws, generators, that kind of thing. I was sitting outside a gas station one afternoon, trying to figure out where to sleep, when he pulled up in a beat-up truck with a trailer full of equipment. He caught me eyeing the trailer hitch, which was partially detached. You know how to fix that? He asked. Maybe, I said. I walked over, looked at it, tightened the coupling with a wrench he handed me. Took maybe 2 minutes. He watched, nodded. You got somewhere to sleep tonight? I didn't answer right away. I got a storage room in the back of my shop, he said. Mattress on the floor, space heater. Nothing fancy. You help me out during the day. It's $280 a week. I said yes immediately. The room smelled like motor oil and sawdust, but it was warm. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have to tiptoe around someone else's rules. I kept my bakery job. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 nights a week, running the dough mixer and prepping industrial sheet pans. I just stopped going home after shifts. The work was brutal. Hot ovens, flour dust everywhere, burns on my forearms from sliding pans in and out, but it paid $16 an hour and nobody asked questions. I spent my afternoons at the public library filling out college applications. I didn't tell anyone where I was. I wanted to have something real before they found me. 3 weeks in, my phone went dead. My parents had removed me from the family plan. No warning. I bought a prepaid phone the next day. The new number meant nobody could reach me unless I gave it to them. I liked it that way. Then came the bank account. I'd saved about $940 in a joint account with my mom's name on it from when I was 16. One morning, I tried to pull cash for rent. Declined. Balance, zero. My mom had cleaned me out. She didn't raise me, she liquidated me. I didn't have Frank's rent. I had $23 in my pocket. Frank found me sitting in the shop that afternoon, head in my hands. Rent problem, he asked. Yeah. He didn't ask for details. Just pulled up a crate and sat down. People like that, he said, they want you reactive. Want you to blow up so they can point and say, see, we were right about him. Don't give them the entertainment. I looked up. What do? You keep building quietly, he said. They can't touch what they can't see. He stood up. You can work it off. I got a backlog of mowers. He pointed to a pile. You fixed 10. We're even. I fixed 12. The next morning, I did what you do when someone tries to delete you from the system. I made myself a checklist. Not goals, not dreams, just survival. New bank account in my name only. No joint anything, no primary account holder, no strings attached. I walked into the branch with my ID and the kind of calm you get when nothing surprises you anymore. The banker asked if I wanted to add a parent. No, I said. I'm trying something new where I stay paid. She laughed like I was joking. I wasn't. I set up direct deposit at the bakery, changed every password, opened a post office box, pulled my credit report, and froze my credit. Maybe it was paranoia, maybe it was experience. Either way, I walked out of the library feeling something I hadn't felt in a while, control. It wasn't dramatic. It was boring paperwork, which is exactly why it worked. Around that same time, I met Daniel at the bakery. I was pulling a rack of sheet pans when one of the wheels caught on the floor drain. The whole thing tipped. 50 pounds of dough-covered pans crashed onto the floor. Our shift lead, a guy named Mark, who hated everyone, stormed over. Are you kidding me? Mark yelled. That's a whole batch. You're paying for that. I opened my mouth to argue, but someone else stepped in. If you want to yell, yell at me, Daniel said. He was tall, early 30s, calm in a way that made Mark hesitate. The wheel's been broken for a week. I reported it. If you want someone to blame, check the maintenance log. Mark glared at him, then at me, then walked off muttering. Daniel looked at me. Floor drains are a trap. Keep the racks on the left side. That was it. No speech. Just a practical tip. 2 nights later, Mark tried to get me to stay an extra hour without pay to clean the ovens. I was about to say yes when Daniel interrupted. Team players get paid. Ask again with a number. Mark didn't ask again. After that, Daniel and I ended up working the same stations most nights. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it mattered. One night, the industrial mixer seized up. I popped the panel, reseated the loose drive belt, got it running again. Mark said nothing, but Carlos, one of the other guys, walked over and said, "That was good work, man. You saved us 2 hours." I didn't know what to do with that. So, I made a joke. Yeah, well, I'm great at fixing broken things. Daniel came over a minute later. That one wasn't sarcasm. He paused. Get used to it. Something in my chest felt different. Lighter, maybe. One night during break, he bought 2 gas station burritos and handed me one. I'm good, I said. It's not charity. You covered my section last week when I was late. I took the burrito. A week later, he taught me something he called the 2-sentence rule. When someone's trying to guilt you or manipulate you, Daniel said, you get 2 sentences, then you walk. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just walk. I asked why. Because the 3rd sentence is when you lose. A month after I left, I got an email from my high school counselor, Ms. Miller. The subject line read, urgent transcript issue. I opened it in the library. She said someone had contacted the school requesting my transcripts be withdrawn. According to the system, my parents had called and said I would not be attending college and to cancel all further application correspondence. I felt my stomach drop. I called the school immediately. Ms. Miller picked up. Noah, she said, I'm glad you called. I need to verify something. Did you authorize your parents to withdraw your transcripts? No. That's what I thought. I'm going to document this. Can you come in? I went the next day. Ms. Miller printed out the system notes showing the call, the date, the request. She also printed confirmation that my transcripts were still active and had been re-released to the colleges I'd applied to. But the damage was done. I'd missed 2 scholarship deadlines. One of them was a full ride I'd had a real shot at. Ms. Miller handed me copies of everything. Keep these. If they try again, we have a paper trail. I folded the papers and put them in my backpack. A week later, the bakery got a call. Mark pulled me aside during my shift. HR wants to talk to you. I followed him to the small office in the back. The HR rep, a tired-looking woman named Brenda, had a folder open on her desk. We received a call from someone claiming to be your parent, Brenda said. They expressed concerns about your stability. Said you might be stealing or that you've made threats. I felt my jaw tighten. 2 sentences. I left home. They're retaliating. I walked out. Daniel found me on the loading dock during break. Mark tried to cut your hours, he said. Told him if he did, he'd have to explain to the plant manager why he's making staffing decisions based on anonymous phone calls. He shrugged. You're still on the schedule. Thanks, I said. After that, Mark didn't talk to me unless he had to. That night, I logged into my email and found a message from Tyler. We're giving you a chance to come home. Stop being dramatic. This is embarrassing for all of us. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back 2 sentences. There isn't a home for me there. There's a role. I blocked his email after that. 2 weeks later, another blow. I'd been ignoring a weird pain in my side for a few days. Figured it was from lifting heavy trays at the bakery. Then one night, the pain got sharp enough that I almost blacked out on the production floor. Daniel drove me to an urgent care. The doctor said it was probably a pulled muscle, maybe a minor hernia. Recommended imaging to be sure. Gave me a bill for $320 just for the visit. I didn't have insurance. They dropped me from their plan after I left, and I hadn't enrolled in anything because I didn't know how and couldn't afford it. I asked about the imaging. The front desk said it'd be around $800 out of pocket. I left without scheduling. Daniel found me sitting in his truck afterward, staring at the bill. You good? He asked. Yeah. He didn't push. Just drove me back to Frank's shop and handed me a bottle of ibuprofen from his glove box. Take 3. If it gets worse, tell me. It didn't get worse. But it didn't get better either. In early spring, I got a letter in the mail, real paper, envelope, my name in my dad's handwriting. I opened it carefully. Inside was a typed list, bullet points titled, Things you need to do before we can discuss you coming home. Stop blaming others for your unhappiness. Apologize for abandoning your family. Recognize the sacrifices we made for you. Understand that everything we do comes from love. Commit to family therapy sessions. Show gratitude for the opportunities you were given. I read it twice. Then I folded it, put it back in the envelope, and tossed it in the trash can by Frank's workbench. Frank saw me do it. Didn't say anything. 2 weeks later, I got another envelope. This one thicker, legal paper from a law office. It said I was being removed as a dependent from my parents' tax records retroactively, that I was no longer considered part of their household, that I had until the end of the month to collect any remaining personal belongings from their property or it would be disposed of. There was a sticky note attached. This is what consequences look like. Mom. That's when something in me changed. They weren't trying to bring me back. They were trying to erase me. I showed the letter to Ms. Miller the next day. She made copies, noted the date, and put them in my file. This might affect your financial aid status, she said. You'll need to file as independent. It's more paperwork, but it's doable. I filed the forms that afternoon. The end of the month deadline wasn't random. It never is with people like my mom. It landed on the same week as my financial aid verification appointment and the placement testing I needed to register for classes. 2 things that only happen on specific days, during specific windows, in offices that close at 4 and don't care if your life is on fire. I sat in the library with my planner open and mapped it out. If I went to the house first, I'd miss the appointment and risk losing the scholarship. If I handled school first, I'd be cutting the deadline close and walking into that house on a timer. A year ago, I would have panicked. I would have sprinted back the second they snapped their fingers. I turned the page and wrote it out in pen. School first, always. I showed up to the aid office the next day with a folder full of copies Ms. Miller had given me, plus the law office letter, plus the sticky note. The woman behind the counter looked at it all, blinked twice, and said, "Okay, we can do a dependency override request. It's more paperwork." "That's fine," I said. Paper doesn't yell. When I walked out, I didn't feel brave, just tired. But I also felt certain. Whatever they were trying to make me choose, I chose my future. Then I went back to Frank's shop and asked if I could use his truck for a few hours. "What for?" he asked. "Need to get something from my parents' house before they throw it out." He handed me the keys. "Don't do anything dumb." I drove to my parents' house in the middle of the day when I knew they'd both be at work. Tyler would be at school. The back door was still unlocked. They never changed that. I walked through the house like a stranger. Everything looked the same, but smaller, quieter. I went upstairs to my old room. The door was open. Inside, it had been completely redecorated. Neutral paint, generic furniture, stock art on the walls. My desk was gone. My posters were gone. My bookshelves were gone. The only thing left was a box in the corner. I opened it. My old textbooks, a few random school papers, and my uncle's guitar. I grabbed the guitar and left. On my way out, I walked past the living room. There was a photo wall, new frames, new pictures. Tyler's varsity team, Tyler's prom, Tyler at the beach, Tyler at a family dinner. Not a single photo of me. I took a picture of the wall with my phone. Then I left. On my way out, I ran into Mr. Anderson, the neighbor from 2 doors down. He was getting his mail. "Noah," he said, surprised. "Good to see you." I nodded. He hesitated, then said, "I always wondered what you did wrong." Then I realized, "You didn't do anything." "We saw it." I stopped. "Saw what?" "The double standards," he said quietly. "Your mom driving Tyler to baseball while you walked to work. The birthday parties for him, none for you. My wife and I talked about it more than once." I didn't know what to say. "Anyway," he said, "glad you got out." He went inside. I stood there for a minute, holding my uncle's guitar, staring at nothing. Someone else saw it. It wasn't in my head. I got in Frank's truck and drove back to the shop. By early summer, I'd been accepted to community college. Not just accepted, scholarship. It wasn't a full ride, but it covered tuition if I kept working part-time. I'd applied as an independent student, filed all the paperwork myself, and written an essay so honest I almost didn't submit it. But I did, and it worked. Ms. Miller called me when the acceptance letter came. "Noah, you did it." I stared at the email on the library computer screen. Read the word "congratulations" 5 times. Frank let me use his kitchen that night. I bought a boxed cake mix and baked it myself. It came out lopsided, slightly burned on one edge. I didn't care. I wrote my own name on it in blue frosting. Just Noah. I didn't call my parents. Didn't tell them, but I knew they'd find out. Small towns talk. Sure enough, a week later, I ran into an old neighbor at the gas station. She smiled wide when she saw me. "I heard you're going to college. Your mom must be so proud." I just nodded. "Yeah," I said, "must be." But I knew better. Around that same time, something else happened. I got a message on Facebook from another old neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. She said my parents had listed the house for sale. The sign had just gone up. I opened Zillow. The listing was there. Photos of the front porch, then bedroom 1, my room, staged like a guest suite. No trace of me. They didn't just move on. They edited me out. I called Kevin, an old classmate who worked in tech and owed me a favor. "Public records," I said. "Property filings, inspection histories. All legal." Kevin came through in 2 days. My parents had listed the house without disclosing a foundation issue that would cost $15,000 to fix. The inspection report flagged it 3 years ago. They'd patched it cosmetically. He also sent foreclosure notices. My parents had missed 3 mortgage payments before listing. The first missed payment was 2 weeks before my 18th birthday. The foreclosure warning was dated the same day my dad left that sobbing voicemail. He didn't miss me. He missed the payment schedule. Turns out grief has a calendar. I saved everything. 2 weeks later, I sent an anonymous package to the potential buyers. Flash drive, documents, a short note about the foundation. The listing disappeared. The buyers backed out. My parents, who were already behind on the mortgage, were now staring down foreclosure. Meanwhile, I'd been asked to speak at the college's fall orientation. They wanted me to talk about being a first-generation student, overcoming obstacles, that kind of thing. I said yes. The day of orientation, someone asked if my parents were here. No, I said, they're busy being proud from a distance. When they called my name, I walked out under the lights, set my notes down, and didn't use them. I told them what I'd learned, that independence isn't a tough guy thing. It's boring. It's forms and showing up. I told them about bootstraps. I think that's funny, I said, because the first time I actually bought boots, I couldn't afford laces. That got a real laugh. When I stepped off stage, one of the faculty members said, "That was powerful." I nodded. "Yeah, sorry about the boot thing." He smiled. "Don't apologize. You earned that room." The school arranged for a local news crew to film part of it. Then the city college board featured my story on their website, From Homeless to Enrollment, Noah's Journey. People shared it. Old classmates saw it. Teachers, neighbors. Eventually, my parents saw it, too. My mom left a passive-aggressive comment. Some kids just don't appreciate how much their families sacrifice for them. She was spiraling. Tyler came looking for me 2 months later. He was outside the bakery one night, leaning against a brand-new sedan. "We need to talk," he said. "Mom's a mess. We're losing the house. You can still come home." "There isn't a home for me there," I said. "There's a role, and I'm done auditioning." I walked past him. He didn't follow. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Ms. Miller. "I need to tell you something. Your mother called the college today. She tried to tell them you falsified parts of your application. Said you lied about being estranged from family." My stomach dropped. "What did you say?" "I told them I've been documenting your situation since you were 18. I sent them copies of everything. The transcript sabotage, the legal letter, the timeline. They're not pursuing it." I exhaled. "Thank you." "But Noah," she said, "she's escalating. Be careful." That night, I sat in my car outside the library with my phone in my hand. I had screenshots of Tyler's old messages saved in a folder. The ones about faking community service hours. The ones joking about taking money from Dad's wallet and blaming it on the house cleaner. I'd been holding on to them for months, just in case. I drafted an email to his school's administration office. Attached 3 screenshots, wrote a neutral subject line, "Academic integrity concern." My finger hovered over send. Then I thought about what Daniel said. Don't give them the entertainment. Don't be reactive. I deleted the draft. Not because I forgave Tyler, because I didn't need to carry his consequences for him. If he was going to fall, it would be because of what he did, not what I orchestrated. I wasn't them. Later that night, Daniel and I sat in his truck in the bakery parking lot during break. I told him about the email I didn't send. "She's trying to burn it all down," I said. And I could do the same to Tyler, but I didn't. Daniel was quiet for a minute. Then he said, "Good. People like that don't stop until they hit a wall. You're the wall, not a wrecking ball." "What if she doesn't stop?" I asked. "Then you make sure everyone else sees what she's doing. You keep building, you keep your proof, and you don't blink." I nodded. 2 months passed. I kept going to class, kept working, kept my head down. Then, the week before Thanksgiving, my dad showed up. I was at the community college library studying for finals when I saw him walk in. He looked older, thinner, tie loose, face haggard. He spotted me and walked over. "Noah," he said quietly. "Can we talk?" I closed my laptop. "You've got 2 minutes." He sat down across from me. "We didn't know it had gotten this bad. Your mother, she's struggling. The house, the money, everything. We want to make this right. You want me to fix it?" I said. "No, we just want you to come home. Let's talk this through. We're still a family." I looked at him for a long moment. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the photo I'd taken of the living room wall, the one with all of Tyler's pictures and none of mine. I slid the phone across the table. "That's your family," I said. He looked at the photo. His face went pale. I never asked for much, I said. I asked to be seen. You couldn't even do that. I stood up. Noah, you're smart. You'll figure it out. I walked away. He didn't follow. After my dad left the library, I sat in my car for a long time with the engine off. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just stared at the steering wheel like it might explain why a man could raise a kid for 18 years and still talk to him like an appliance that stopped working. Daniel knocked on my window. You coming in? He asked. No. He nodded like that made sense. Then he said, my sister's doing Thanksgiving. You can come if you want. I'm not great at family holidays, I said. Neither is my sister, he replied. That's why she cooks enough food to intimidate people into behaving. I should have said no. The old part of me wanted to keep everything separate and controlled. Safer that way. But something about the empty passenger seat made me tired of being tough and private. Fine, I said. But if anyone asks me to say what I'm thankful for, I'm leaving. Deal, Daniel said. 2-sentence rule. His sister's place was small and loud and smelled like garlic and butter. Nobody interrogated me. Nobody made me perform gratitude like it was rent. At one point, his sister handed me a plate piled high and said, eat. Yes, ma'am, I said automatically. She squinted. Don't ma'am me. I'm not your principal. Someone's cousin came over with pie and said, Happy Thanksgiving. For half a second, something in my chest tightened. Nobody had said happy anything to me in months, without a condition attached. I covered it with a joke. Thanks. Don't eat all the pie. I took a drink and thought. I didn't miss them. I missed the idea of being worth celebrating. Later, I realized something that almost annoyed me. This was what normal sounded like. Not silence, not lectures, just people being people and still saving you a seat. The final confrontation came in January. I just finished my first semester. 3.8 GPA, Dean's List. I was walking out of the campus bookstore when I saw all three of them, Mom, Dad, and Tyler, standing by the entrance like they'd been waiting. My mom stepped forward. Noah, please. We need to talk. I stopped, looked at each of them. About what? About fixing this, Dad said. About moving forward. We made mistakes, Mom added. Her voice was tight. But you're making this worse. You're punishing us. I felt Daniel step up beside me. He'd been across the parking lot, saw them, and walked over. Didn't say a word, just stood there. Tyler spoke up. Come on, man. You proved your point. You're doing great. But this scorched earth thing, it's not healthy. He gave me a look. We're giving you a chance. You're not a judge, I said. You're a beneficiary. Tyler's face went red. I stared at Tyler. You told them to cancel my transcripts, didn't you? Silence. You convinced them I needed to learn consequences. You said that I was manipulating them. I pushed. You were the translator. The amplifier. Tyler's face flushed. That's not you knew, I said quietly. You knew what they were doing to me, and you helped. Mom cut in. Noah, that's not fair. By sabotaging me? I turned to her. By cleaning out my bank account? She looked away. We gave you everything, Mom said, her voice breaking. You gave me a roof and a receipt, I said. That's not love. That's obligation. Daniel finally spoke, calm and cold. He's not taking feedback from people who've never paid for anything. Tyler's face flushed. My mom started crying. We're your family. No, I said. You're people I used to live with. Family shows up. Family sees you. You never did either. I turned and walked toward the parking lot. Daniel followed. Behind me, my dad called out. Your room's still here. I stopped, turned around one last time. It's not my room, I said. It never was. Then I left. I didn't see them again after that. A year later, I transferred to a 4-year university on a full scholarship. Started mentoring first-generation students through a campus nonprofit, got a paid internship doing environmental field research, which paid more than the bakery and didn't destroy my back. Daniel and I stayed close. He ended up getting promoted to shift supervisor, started teaching a weekend class on industrial equipment safety at the community college. We still got burritos on Thursdays. Frank sold his shop and retired. Before he left, he handed me the title to the truck I'd been borrowing. Said, you fixed it more than I did. It's yours. I heard through the grapevine that my parents lost the house. Moved into a rental 2 counties over. Smaller place, no garden gnomes. A few years later, I heard Tyler ended up at a state school. Not the one he'd been aiming for. Somewhere cheaper, quieter. Something about an integrity flag during application. Not sure what triggered it. Could have been anything. People talk. I got one last message from my mom. A text from a new number I didn't recognize. I hope you're happy now. I didn't respond, but if I had, I would have told her the truth. I am. Not because I destroyed them, but because I stopped letting them destroy me. I build a life where people see me, where showing up matters. Where love isn't a transaction with a bill attached. And every morning I wake up in my own place, on my own schedule, and I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't need their approval anymore. I never did. I just needed to leave long enough to realize I was never the problem. They were. What's your take on all this? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with family? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading everyone.